One Piece will still go on for many years, but I believe I already know the last 7 arcs, and in this video I am going to reveal them to you. One Piece is now entering its final saga. Sagas are made up of arcs. Now I will present to you the 7 major arcs that are left, in order. I don't claim to be able to predict every spot the Straw Hats will ever visit, just the most important ones. There will be a lot of small detours here and there, just like Sphinx Island, where they will likely go before they sail to Elbaf, but I expect only a short stay on Sphinx. To find out the final arcs, we have to look at Luffy's final enemies. There are 3 big bad guys that he has to beat up: Blackbeard, Akainu and Imu. And yes, Luffy has to personally beat all 3. Blackbeard won't be defeated by Shanks, Akainu won't be taken out by Sabo, and Imu will not fall to Dragon. Blackbeard is Luffy's evil counterpart. Akainu killed Ace right in front of him, and he gave him his most important scar. And Imu is the king of the world, clearly the protagonist's job to get rid of him. Luffy will beat them, but not in one giant battle. Many people talk about the so-called greatest war, as if only one battle is left, where every major villain will be defeated. After taking out someone like Akainu, Luffy will have to recover from and process the fight. He can't just attack Imu next. 3 enemies left means at least 3 battles and thus 3 arcs. But in which order will they go down? Imu will clearly be the last enemy. Luffy will come for him after he has found the One Piece, after he found out the true history. So who is next? Blackbeard might be who most expect. After all, Luffy's alliance just took down 2 emperors, why not a 3rd? But the timing doesn't make sense. Luffy versus Blackbeard will happen later. Teach has business with Shanks. Shanks told Whitebeard about his history with Blackbeard and the scar he received from him. Their fight was teased at Marineford, and just recently the data book Road to Laughtale hinted at them fighting also. Shanks won't take Teach out for Luffy, so he will lose. Beating Shanks, who is worth 4 billion berries, will give Blackbeard a bounty of around 5 billion. When Luffy eventually defeats Blackbeard, he will earn his final bounty, one that is higher than Roger's. But building up the conflict between Shanks and Blackbeard will take time. I expect that Blackbeard will attack at the end of Elbaf. Then there needs to be time for the Navy to issue new bounties, for Luffy to find out what happened and grieve over Shanks and so on. So Blackbeard can't be the next villain. Lots of things have to happen before he fights Luffy. Not Imu, not Blackbeard. That leaves us with Akainu. Yes, Luffy will attack New Marineford soon. I believe Shanks and Teach will fight while Luffy sails to the Navy HQ. The reason for that isn't clear yet. Akainu as the next enemy makes a lot of sense. Big Mom and Kaido lost by getting beaten into magma. Akainu gave a speech recently about pushing his enemies back into the sea. The revolutionaries finally declared war against the celestial dragons, and in doing so clashed with 2 admirals. We also finally got to see Ryokugyo. Luffy's bounty points in that direction too. Luffy always got a bounty higher than the enemy he defeated. But when he beat Kaido, who was worth 4.6 billion, he only got 3 billion. Why did Oda choose to break the pattern? He wants to raise Luffy's bounty 2 more times. The relatively low 3 billion makes plenty of room for that. Had he given Luffy 5 billion for beating 4.6 billion Kaido, which would be justified, it would already be too close to Luffy's final number. We can already assume that Luffy's final bounty will be 5.6 billion, a little higher than Roger's, and 5.6 means Gomu in Japanese, like the old name of Luffy's fruit. Bounties are there to excite the audience. You can't really squeeze a bounty increase between 5 and 5.6. Going from 5 to 5.3 and then to 5.6 would be lame. Going from 3 to 4 and then to 5.6 is exciting though, and that is the road Oda will use. But 2 increases for doing what, or for defeating who? 1 increase for beating Blackbeard of course, but the other? He can't get an increase for defeating the government. I mean, if he wins against them, his allies will become the next government. They won't hunt him for having helped them. The answer is that Luffy will defeat Akainu way before he topples the government. He will beat Akainu, then Blackbeard and finally Imu. Luffy went to the original Marineford with a bounty of 300 million berries. After Marineford it got raised to 400 million. Now he has 3 billion. I already said that 4 billion would be a good progression. For beating Akainu it might get raised to exactly that, which would still be lower than Blackbeard's new bounty for crushing Shanks. Oda will probably show us Blackbeard's and Luffy's bounties at the same time to start building up their confrontation. Luffy's win over Akainu will be bittersweet, because just when he's celebrating his victory, he learns that Shanks has been defeated. So Oda is paralleling Marineford's 300 million with the new 3 billion bounty. If Blackbeard is defeated on Lodestar, that gives us the following path: New Marineford, then Lodestar, and finally Maryjoa. Many people will object to that order I just laid out. They will say that it makes no sense for Luffy to defeat the Navy so much earlier than the world government. Won't he have to fight the Navy again when he attacks Maryjoa later? He can't defeat them in one swipe because fighting Imu right after Akainu is too much for Luffy. I believe that the outcome of the New Marineford War will be a change of leadership. Akainu will lose his position after Luffy knocks him out. The world still needs a navy even when the celestial dragons are overthrown. Akainu would fight Luffy's team until the bitter end. There needs to be a fleet admiral in charge who, when Imo is defeated, accepts the regime change. That fleet admiral will be Fujitora. He will be Akainu's successor. He will treat Imo like he treated Doflamingo. He will wait for Luffy to beat Imo and then arrest the Secret King when his crimes are laid bare. I know, many people predict Fujitora going against the world government, but this is just silly. Luffy will beat the government with his own strength, and not because the strongest government fighters change sides. Fujitora just recently joined the navy. He probably believes that there needs to be a force who combats pirates. He won't fight for the pirates. For Fujitora just to accept the defeat of Imo and to work with the new government is enough. We won't have the battles against Akainu, Blackbeard and Imo all in a row. Those high-stake arcs will be interrupted by more relaxed ones. That is how it always goes. Luffy won't go straight from fighting Kaido to battling Akainu and so on. So there will be one major arc before New Marineford, then one before Lodestar or wherever Luffy defeats Blackbeard, one before the Straw Hats raid Maryjoa to beat Imo, and then some sort of prologue. That makes 7 arcs. Wano just ended. Now we will get Swing's Island and then the long-awaited Elbaf. Swings will be less about Luffy and more about the other players. The Straw Hats won't be there for a long time, so I don't count it as a major arc. Elbaf will be the prelude to the fight against Akainu. On the Giant's Island they will learn of a reason to attack the Navy HQ, probably something related to Vivi, Sabo or Hancock. Of course, after Blackbeard is defeated and Luffy is the undisputed strongest pirate, the Straw Hats will go to Laughtale, where they will learn the true history and come to the conclusion that they have to topple the government, which will lead into the fight against Imo. After that is accomplished, there will be a kind of prologue. I suspect they will go to Loguetown again, which was called the town of the beginning and of the end. Roger came there after he had become Pirate King, only natural for Luffy to go there again. So Elbaf before New Marineford, Laughtale after the fight against Blackbeard, then Maryjoa and finally Loguetown. Only one spot is still blank. Where will the Straw Hats go after they have fought Akainu and before they battle Blackbeard? The Straw Hats will go to the moon. Oda likes to recycle old villains. Buggy and Crocodile just made comebacks. Enel deserves as much, but he won't leave his fairy worth. He is living his dream. The Straw Hats will come to him. After Marineford, they went deep down to Fishman Island. After New Marineford, they will go high up to the moon. When they come down, they will fight Blackbeard, just like how they fought budget Blackbeard Foxy after they came down from Skypiea. I made a more detailed video on the coming moon arc. So here are the 7 major arcs of the final saga. Elbaf, New Marineford, the moon, Lodestar, Laughtale, Maryjoa and Loguetown in that order.